It's not only Santa who comes, but once a year.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's so lovely to see you, I feel like, I barely know you, I've not seen you all year, but I feel like I can say Sheeny.
Yeah.
Mr. Sheen, I imagine you're sick and tired of that one. I bet that was quite a childhood annoyance, wasn't it?
Yeah, and an adult one as well.
Yeah, well,
it seems.
Let's keep going, because I'm not... If there's one man who will flog something till it's dead and then keep on flogging it, perhaps a dead horse, it's me.
Yeah.
Good luck, Sheeny.
Thank you.
Mr. Sheen, you're Mr. Sheen, you, Sheeny. No, you've had an even better year, because what's the current state of play with the movie Frost Nixon? Has it been released?
The movie Frost Nixon has been released in America.
Right.
It got 5 Golden Globe nominations.
Oh, fantastic. Were you included in that?
No.
Oh, that's gutting.
I think it got Best Film, Best Director, Best Screenplay, Best Music, Best Boy, Best
Sure, yeah.
Key Rigger,
Yeah.
Best everything that it could be, but not me.
And so what about, because it's essentially a two-hander really between you and Frank Langella, who plays Nixon. Did he get a nomination?
He did, yeah.
That must be gutting. That must be particularly annoying. But then he is a great actor.
Yeah.
What, now, just so we're clear, because we are pre-recording this before Christmas, are you speculating, or are those actually the Golden Globe nominations?
No, they are actually.
Right, okay.
They came out, last week.
Couple of weeks back, right.
Yeah.
And then when are the awards themselves? They're sort of February time or early January?
Yeah, I think so.
Right, so will you be going to clap on Frank? Or will you'll be staying away because you're
I'll
annoyed?
stay home and heckle the TV.
Sure. And are you genuinely annoyed?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought, cause I probably would be. I would be.
Because I need awards and nominations to fill the gaping hole that is my soul.
Listen, I only do this for awards. The only reason I'm involved in the media in any way is awards and free stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm not really getting enough of any at the moment. I had a good initial phase early on. You may remember some of my previous work. That was well received. Since then, the sheen's been taken off my career, and it's been going to other people, James Corden, people like that. So, so I mean, if I don't pull something out the bag this year, frankly,
it's all over.
It's a waste of time.
Yeah.
Well, listen, thank you for coming in and commiserating over a glass of imaginary mulled wine, and we'll talk to you some more. We'll be playing Tunes of the Year. I think that's pretty standard practice this time of year. Tunes of the Year, tunes of 2008. We started obviously with Oxford Comma Vampire Weekend, big band this year, cracking tune, and we also had some good live sessions, and people popped in, guests and so on this year, aside from Michael, and so we'll just be dipping back into those as well. But you may remember that we had the excellent Laura Marling, who's also had a great year, very well received, young singer-songwriter, and she recorded for us in the Hub a live version of Ghosts. Here it is. The fantastic Laura Marling, who came in for the show back in February, and was playing tracks from her album Alas I Cannot Swim, which is a dynamite album, possibly one of the best albums of the year, Rufus.
For sure, definitely, Steve.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much indeed. Steve Show 6 Music, we're on tape, do not phone or email. You will be wasting your money, but it will still cost you, and then you'll probably, write to the Daily Mail, and wrists will be slapped, faces punched, and so on, and, I don't know, someone will say something about Lord Reith, and how he wouldn't have tolerated it. So, we don't want that. We want just good times. It's Christmas is over, New Year still to come. What have you got planned for New Year? Get in touch, email, text. No, you can't. That's insane. Steve Show. Hey, how's it going? I'm still drunk from Christmas. It's insane. It's my own fault. I should have stopped there. I should have calmed down. It's weird at Christmas, isn't it? You feel because you're with your family, you just get drunk, start drinking around 10, just keep going then for a couple of days. Be careful. Don't drive though. That would be silly. Don't drive. Don't drink and drive, and don't do other things. Don't try and perhaps program the video. If you're desperate to watch Strictly Come Dancing Christmas special, watch it live so as to be safe. Steve Show, what's going on, eh? I don't know what's happening. Okay, so Michael Sheen, he's here.
I'm sorry, Steve, I've got a mouthful of brownie.
I don't know, is there something about this festive season that sort of makes me feel less inclined to do good work? You know what I mean? You feel like you can put your feet up. Why should we put in the hours on, was it Sunday 28th? When presumably everyone else is just not going to work, they're not, most of our listeners normally would be down, say, Woolworths, not in the new year, obviously, but, or whatever, and so why should we get involved? Oh, this is typical of the showbiz.
I agree,
types.
I've moved on, I've had closure.
You've already...
3 years ago I grieved the loss of
You grieved for Woolworths, and then one day you walk out and you thought, I need some pick and mix. There's nowhere for me to go.
No, exactly.
Oh, I've just realised the loss of cheap pick and mix.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that was a good place to get cheap
free pick and mix, sure. Where are you going to steal your...
No.
Is anyone here someone who thinks it's okay that if you're wandering round a shop, like a supermarket or something, that if you pick up something that you can eat by the time you get to the checkout, that's alright?
So do you mean like
I'm not saying I do
olives or an apple?
Yeah, like, you know, you just pick something up. Like in sweets and pick and mix. If you can eat it by the time you get to the checkout, doesn't count.
Dan's shaking his head. He's very scrupulous about these things.
No, it's just that I don't agree with that rule. I don't think that's how it works. No. I think you have to keep the wrapper so that the checkout person can scan your ill-gotten gains.
Thank you, Lord.
And
Reith.
it's a little bit chavvy.
But what about... Oh, don't slam the chavs. They've suffered enough this year.
I had a friend.
They can't
who
pay their
tried
central
to-
heating.
I had a friend who tried to nick a huge grinder, Black & Decker grinder, from somewhere like, you know, Sainsbury's home base.
Yeah.
By sticking his kid on the top of it in the trolley and wheeling it out. Trying to claim that he wasn't aware that he had it.
How far did he get before he
He
was
got
rumbled?
to his car.
And then someone came running, like a
Yeah.
little boy came running and...
Yeah.
And what did he... So did he make any attempt to... I mean, was he banged to rights and did he pay for it, or did he
No, he
just...
said, "Oh, I didn't realise I had it. My kid was sitting on top of it."
But without naming this person, his plan was to actually steal it.
Yeah.
See, this is what angers me about the fact that anyone's allowed to have a kid. That it seemed you would have thought that if you have a child, you're sort of obligated to stop doing stuff like
Yeah,
that.
you'd think
Unless,
so.
you know, you're part
It's
of
sort of-
Sammy's family.
We're back to Dickens, aren't we? It's sort of
Right.
Dickensian. It's like Fagin or something, using your kid to sit on a grinder.
But I could excuse it if it were perhaps a loaf of bread. But I mean, a Black & Decker, you know, your life's pretty good if you need a Black &
Yeah,
Decker grinder.
totally.
You know, because I'm presuming he's not doing that because he's a carpenter.
No,
and he
he
needs
wasn't
it.
a
So,
carpenter.
you know,
No.
I mean,
Jesus was a carpenter.
This is what I was just thinking. What if it were the modern nativity? Perhaps that young child.
What if God had put Jesus on top of a grinder and
To
wheeled
wheel
him
him
out
out.
of home base?
No, hang on. You've lost me. I think what you mean is Joseph.
Yeah, Joseph putting Jesus on a grinder.
Put Jesus on the grinder.
Or in a manger on wheels. Sorry, Christmas. I'm drunk.
We are clean living boys. We're not drunk. We're just rubbish. Yes. You were talking about. So thieving. Our views are that you can steal maybe the occasional olive and some pick and mix.
Yeah.
But you cannot steal Black & Decker grinders.
Yeah,
You can't use young members of your family or perhaps older.
I think if you fear
Ladies.
karma to any extent, you should always be honest. Eat around the supermarket, but do always have the wrapper scanned at the end. And like I do, I eat the grapes as I go around. But I always say, just add another 50 pence on. I've definitely eaten a good 50 pence.
Or they could weigh you as you enter the supermarket, and then they weigh you as you leave, and you get a
Brilliant
charge according to your
Like little
discrepancy.
jockeys. Little jockeys.
Yes,
in
perhaps
weighing
little jockeys,
scales.
yes.
If Woolworths had that in place, they wouldn't have gone bankrupt.
Exactly.
Because who were we talking to who was saying that they used to work in Woolworths, and basically the policy was, oh look, kids are going to steal pick and mix, don't worry about it, alright? That's the way it is. It's been happening for 100 years, forget it. That's clearly what happened, that's policy from above, and over the years, that pick and mix,
Look where I got them.
a penny here, a penny there, gone.
Yeah.
Thousands jobless this Christmas. Happy New Year! She and him, it's the actress Zooey Deschanel and who is M Ward teaming up to record tracks. They put out a great album earlier this year, and from it that was Why Do You Let Me Stay? Steve Show 6 Music with me, Steve Mosher, and my gang. We were just talking earlier about thieving. Obviously we don't advocate thieving. Have you ever thefted anything? Have ever thefted anything? I personally myself, I don't think I have. Not from a shop. Any confessions that you'd like to make?
In the victimless crime of stealing from the stationery cupboard at work occasionally. Post-it notes, the odd hardback envelope has found its way into
See, there's
mine.
certain things that people feel comfortable stealing. I remember someone who used to steal rolls of toilet paper from their work. One of my flatmates used to constantly bring back toilet
Damn.
paper. They'd say, we need to get some...
Terrible behaviour.
But you'd say in the morning, I think someone needs to get some toilet paper. Don't worry, I'm off to work. And they'd come back with maybe one roll, but like a whole bag?
Really?
See, and
Not
particularly...
a roll at a time, no?
No, I mean, sometimes, a bag full of... their satchel full of toilet rolls.
Really?
And again, it wasn't particularly great toilet paper, it wasn't classy stuff, it was just a notch above the school kind of grease-proof toilet paper.
Yeah, but if it's free.
Well, yeah, who's complaining?
Yeah, exactly.
I was just thinking it's a shame Harry's not here, because presumably he's stolen about 50 million in gold bullion, I would have thought.
Yeah, well, absolutely.
And his mates probably stole, one of them's stolen half an economy.
Well, I know quite a few people who sort of see it as like you say, a victimless crime because it's sort of the man. I'm sure there's a lot of our listeners out there who, quite rock and roll in spirit, and that somehow it's okay to steal from the man. Little sort of small things. Like I knew someone who would just never take videos back. It was just like, to them, Blockbuster was the man. And so they would just sort of, they would get videos and then they would maybe take a couple out and then they'd have to join another video club. Because they couldn't, I was thinking, this is absurd, you have to, in the end they'd have to go like an hour round trip to the video shop because they couldn't go to the 8 nearby. It was just a weird sort of perversion of like, why would I pay for those things. And obviously, people feel that way about free music. They feel they can download free music. And obviously, this is a moral conundrum that we've talked about in the past, but I'm always intrigued to know perhaps what big celebrity names would have done in my situation. Michael, you are a man we've already established of great dignity. I was a student at university, okay? I got up to the cash point, and someone has left their card in the machine, okay, with the PIN number input, and it already says, what would you like to do? Eject PIN, cash, and so on and so on, right? Now, that's the situation I'm confronted with as I approach the cash point. Now, a couple of options open to you, okay? You can eject, hand the card in. Or, you can reward yourself for your honesty with perhaps 10, 20, 50 pounds.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Which is, in a way, you're teaching them a lesson. You're saying, I could have stolen a lot more, a considerable amount more, but I'm choosing to just teach you a lesson through £50. Which you choose to then spend, perhaps on yourself, and maybe one or two friends.
Yeah.
With a couple of beers. Now, what do you do in that situation? I'm not going to tell you which one I did. It's not important at this stage. But what would you do in that situation?
Well, I'm confused, because what I would have done is order a new checkbook immediately.
Sure.
Surely that would be your first instinct.
First instinct, order a new checkbook. Yeah. Change PIN?
Possibly.
Change PIN for a laugh.
Yeah.
Sammy shakes her head.
What
even though
was the opinion of the gang?
I think they were all against it.
I'm so terrified of karma and so utterly terrified of my dad that I would just never do anything wrong. I've never stolen anything from a shop, and I would immediately have just turned around and said, oh, you've forgotten your card, and then maybe felt a bit bad that I didn't take the money. And
Well, no, I should point out that this person, I didn't see this person. They weren't still hanging around. They just
Hand
long
it in,
since
do
disappeared.
anything,
I
cut it
did
into
hand it in.
pieces.
I handed it in.
I do now live in fear, though, as a minor celebrity, that any situation like that is being filmed.
I know what you mean, yes.
Do you know what I mean? So,
Yes, yeah,
like,
yeah.
that I'm being punked.
You're being punked.
Or whatever. and if I did do the wrong thing, then I would, everyone would know that I was a
I know what
dirty
you
low
mean. Yeah.
skunk.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are we allowed to say that
Yes,
on the
you
radio?
are. Dirty old skunk.
Yeah.
It's just one of the phrases that you can still say on the BBC. There's only 3 left.
Yeah.
And I
It
think-
is a terrible thing, though, that it's an oppressive thing, thinking any difficult, embarrassing situation, maybe this is being filmed.
Well,
Maybe
it's
I'm-
interesting because I don't believe in God, for instance, even at this difficult time.
But he believes in you.
Yeah, I'm sure he does. But I am fearful of hidden camera shows. And in
So
a
hidden
way,
cameras
just
have
like
become
he,
God.
for believers, is watching them at all times and judging them. I'm constantly being judged by who is it? Ashton Kutcher.
Yeah. Well, now we're in a philosophical debate. Do you do the right thing because someone's watching you, or do you do it because it's the right thing?
I for many years I did it for fear of Jeremy Beadle, but thankfully, or perhaps not thankfully, but sadly, he's no longer with us.
I
so
think a
at
lot
least
of people
that
do.
burden has been lifted.
I'm
Yeah.
staggered that your moral arbiter is a hidden camera rather than some sort of greater being. You know, shall I kill this person or not? Well, I've got no moral code, but it would make terrible telly.
I've got no moral code, but hang on, is that a fake moustache? Steve Show 6 Music, playing our favourite tracks of the year, and also dipping back into the archive of interviews that we conducted this year. And you may recall that a little while back I was doing the show live from New York City. The gang were here in London, I was in New York, and on the phone we were lucky enough to get one of my hip-hop heroes, LL Cool J, was on the phone, and he was chatting about his new album. And then towards the end of the interview I felt it was only right that I should remind him, or perhaps introduce him to the idea that I am, in England at least, a much-loved rapper, or amateur rapper, I would say. I've not yet actually got into cutting an album, but it's only a matter of time. And so I felt that it was only appropriate towards the end of the interview that perhaps I do a little bit of what we call in the business spitting for him. Now, you are obviously famously cool, the word cool obviously in your name. I am perhaps not as cool, LL, if I'm being completely honest.